Run, party, repeat. Welcome to the East Coast Adventures Dirt and Vert podcast, where we talk all things running, racing, and training to help you get ready for your next big adventure.
Learn from our successes and our failures, and have fun at the same time. Join us right here every week with inspiring guests who share their captivating tales from the trails. And remember, nobody cares.
Run faster. All right, welcome back to the East Coast Adventures with the Dirt and Vert podcast. I'm David.
And I'm Matt.
And we have Brandy Krisher with us today. She is the new chief editor of East Coast Ultra Running Magazine.
Yes.
And she has recently, over the last year, became an ultra runner. She's got running experience prior to that, but ultra running is fairly new to her. And what's kind of exciting is we were doing our, briefing here real quick so that before we started this interrogation with Brandy, we found out that she's running Pinhoti 100 this year too. So that's kind of exciting. Your very first 100-miler. So Brandy, if you don't care, just tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into running.
Okay, so my name is Brandy Krisher. I am a mom. I am also a wife. I am a massage therapist as well. I actually just had my last day at my doctor's office where I've been working for the last 3 years. Was there full time and working for Run Bum Races, kind of in the background. And now I'm full time for Run Bum Races. I also am the chief editor, as you had mentioned, of the magazine. And then I own my own mobile massage business as well as our own photography business. And running. So getting into running, I started in my 20s. I was about 23 years old when I found running. I live in a small beach town and we have a bridge loop here. And a lot of runners will do it. It's about like 3.8 miles to complete both bridges. And so what piqued my interest was I was listening to a Gutter Mouth song, little old school punk rock, and I was getting out of a terrible abusive relationship, getting my own place for the first time in a long time, and I was in a deep depression, and I wanted something that would help me get through that. And as I was driving over that bridge listening to that song, I was like, you know what? I could run to this. And I picked up some shoes at a little store, Bells up the road, knew nothing about running shoes, grabbed them, and I couldn't run a mile. And so I kind of slowly trained myself in my neighborhood and worked my way up, and then finally started training on those bridges regularly. But I also have a pretty dark background in alcoholism. I was a very heavy drinker, got myself into trouble quite a few times, had tried quitting drinking for years and never let it stick, didn't really put in the work that I needed to stop that addiction. And running was the only thing that I ever found some peace of mind and mental clarity when I did try to stop. So I am now a little over 7 years sober. And so that really became a part of my recovery, is running.
That's awesome.
It is. That's wow. That's what kind of led you into running. That's pretty awesome that you battled multiple things there. And unfortunately, the relationship piece, was the relationship piece like whenever you got your own place and everything, that's kind of like when you started running, just to
Yes.
was that kind of like a mental, recovery for you in a way? Is that why you chose it?
Absolutely. So I find, I don't feel like running can replace therapy or, for me, replace a recovery program. However, it is very therapeutic for me.
Mhm.
And for me, if I don't take care of my physical body, my mental space also suffers. And running is that. It is extremely therapeutic, meditative, and healing in my life.
And you said you couldn't run a mile the very first time?
No. But I was like a party animal. I bartended for a long time before I became a massage therapist. I was the girl at the bar till they were turning the little lights on. Then I would go home and sleep until work. And I lived an unhealthy life. So I couldn't, no, I couldn't run. There wasn't much, physically that I did other than hung out and drank with friends in our beach town.
And look at you now. You're getting ready to do your first 100-mile race. That's impressive. So tell us how the buildup happens. Like you run one, you can't even run a mile. What was going, like, what did you decide to do? Did you have like okay, I can do better than this moment, or?
Oh, yeah. So I'm really stubborn. And I don't like anything or anyone telling me I can't do something. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But now is my first experience that I had awareness of, right? Because it took me years down the road that I was battling against myself with my addiction. But in running, it was like, you can't do this. Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. And every time I went out that door and I could make it maybe a 1/10 of a mile further, I was like, okay, I can do it. And slowly but surely, I had this 1/4 mile loop behind my house, and I just ran it and ran it and ran it until I finally could run a mile. And I can't tell you how long that took, me to build up to a mile, but that was over the course of, my early 20s. And I had built up to that bridge loop, which is about 4 miles in total. And all I did was do that loop. And then I would end up go out, drink, party, yada, yada, same old cycle. And it wasn't until I stopped drinking that I put any true effort forward into any sort of training or explored what my potential could be with running.
I'm surprised that you were running 4 miles every day and then just going out and drinking. I bet you were so dehydrated.
In Florida.
Yeah.
Oh, you're really.
I bet you cramped up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I wrecked myself so bad. I mean, the reason that I would stop so many times is I had little injuries that would crop up, but I didn't know anything about anyone that knew anything about running. I would run by my 60-year-old neighbors and see them running, but I didn't know that there was a big community out there. I didn't really look into marathons or half marathons. I knew our town puts on a lot of 5Ks and a half marathon in January. Outside of that, I did not know the world of ultra running existed in my 20s. Not a clue.
Well, there's people that don't know it exists now in their 50s.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
In my 20s, I had no clue about ultra running. I mean, I didn't know about it until I saw it sign at the gym. 6-hour run. Never heard about it.
He saw, this was before he was part of East Coast Adventures. He saw one of our advertisements and he was like, "Oh,
so you advertised at a gym?"
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I like
That's
that.
what got me.
I like
Got
that. And here you are now.
Oh yeah, because my my ego said I can run for 6 hours.
Right.
That's easy.
His body said, "No, you can't."
And you get out there and you're like, oh, this is different than running a 5K.
That was the first time Matt learned how to puke 4 times in a race.
I don't even know if I puked that time. It was cramping. I was cramping so bad I couldn't even walk. Oh. I didn't know nothing about salt. I didn't know anything.
That would be the only time he's not puked, Brandy. The only time. Yeah. If that's true, that's the only race I know of that he's not puked.
Early days, I wasn't a puker. It got when I got these stupid long ones that we do. These really fun ones. That's when the puking comes out.
I've seen him puke that's a typical. Too long too, though. So we were doing a track race one time. He was doing a track race. I was screwing him, and it was a 24-hour race. 4 hours in, Matt's puking everywhere on the side of this track. He still got his 100 miles, but he started out at mile 4 just puke.
It was I knew what the long haul held, so I knew that I was going to be here for a long time. So I just go ahead and started getting it all out.
You were like, I might as well get ahead of the game.
I don't think I puked after that.
No, I don't think you did. But I said 4 miles, but I meant 4 hours.
Yeah,
first 4 hours of a 24-hour race, he's puking everywhere.
Yeah, after that, I think I was good. That's how you get it that early.
They were good. They were good till they weren't.
Yeah,
so you felt better after that.
Oh yeah,
You
that's
just
usually
kept
what happens.
pooping.
Usually after you puke for a few times, you usually feel better,
Right.
unless it doesn't go away. Sometimes you
I
get that
haven't,
chronic puking, and you're just like, this is you can't do nothing. But
if I'm throwing up, something's really wrong. I am not a puker at all.
Well, don't
Zero.
worry, he's an expert.
oh yeah, it's
He
great.
can walk you through the whole process.
It's
Okay.
great. If you ever start doing it, this is my solution to it.
Oh,
Yes.
geez.
Do tell.
You get it all out. You don't try to stop yourself. You
Okay.
get it all out, and then once you start the dry heaving process, then you slap yourself until you about knock yourself out,
Okay.
and then you'll instantly forget about puking because you're like, "Whoa,
I just
I
beat my.
about went out. I about went out."
Now, Brandy, he really does do this. I've watched him. He smacks the shit out of himself.
And it
And
works.
that helps keep it back down.
And then you go run again.
And then you
I question the whole process, to be honest.
I mean,
well, they call that what? Puke and rally.
you can rally.
I can puke and rally without beating the shit out of myself.
Not me. I like to slap myself, and it gets me like pumped up after that because I'm kind of down because I'm throwing up. And if you slap yourself real hard, you get pumped back up, and then we quit puking, and then you go run again.
Hey,
It's
we
just-
all have our
it's-
methods, right?
I was gonna say, any theory you want, Matt, it's yours.
It works. It's scientifically proven by a field study of me, so it works.
Field study of Matt.
Field study of
I feel like that needs more testing.
If it works for you, work it.
Hey, we were doing this one race, the same race that he saw me throw up just a couple years later, and David goes around the corner and he starts doing this whole, oh, I about went, and I'm running away from him, saying no, 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 because I'm also a sympathetic puker. So if I hear you puke, I will puke as well.
It was so funny. I had downed a goo, and I did not like the flavor, and it was like blueberry pomegranate. And I can eat about any goo, but I've learned I cannot eat that one.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was called.
It was blueberry pomegranate.
Was that it?
Yeah, it's nasty. Or blackberry, maybe blackberry pomegranate or something.
That's all I bought though, Brandy. I bought a whole box of them.
Blueberry pomegranate.
That's
So
all I
You bought
had.
the big ones, didn't you?
Yeah, like the 25 thing.
Yeah.
So that's all I brought to the race. I didn't have a choice. And about the 4th or 5th lap in, I take that stuff and squirt it in my mouth, and I'm like, you know, and Matt's like, nope. And he just starts sprinting down the road. Like he's like, nope.
I will go with him.
And I mean, I ended up not puking, but I didn't eat any more goose the rest of the day. But it's funny. I didn't see him for like an hour.
I didn't puke any time that race either.
You saved yourself.
Oh yeah. If I hear it and I see it, I am going with you.
Well, you don't got to worry about that around me because I'm not a puker. Maybe I will be, and I'm not explored that yet.
Yeah,
You'll find out if you are at Pinhoti.
She's gonna be out there throwing up. She's like, Matt, I just told him that I wasn't a puker. Now look at me.
Yeah, it's you find out really if you're a puker or not in a 24-hour race or a 100-mile race. Period. Either one of them, because you find out if your stomach truly can handle all the stuff that you're putting in it, and if you know, and that's the problem. It's like, I made some mistakes at the Eddy 50, and it cost me a few minutes, but
well, if you see it happening, it's all good.
Yeah.
If you see her, get a picture.
Yes, please do. I'll need some documentation of that.
We need to have the race director announce that at the start of the race. If y'all see Brandy puking, film it.
Because she's not a puker.
Jamie, no. This is where they broadcast live.
Oh yeah.
So Brandy, let me ask you this. So you worked all the way up to running that bridge.
Yes.
And at this point, you're still partying and everything. How did you come about to like get into your first race? How did all this work into that?
So I stopped drinking in 2017. And I was searching for some kind of outlet. I had started at a local gym, Pure Fit, which I still go to that gym. It's the best gym around, and such an amazing, uplifting community. And I tried to get into like strength training and powerlifting, and it just never spoke to my soul the way running did. So I started running again, but I just signed up for like online challenges. I don't know if you've ever seen those. It was a little bit close to COVID, where they were like shipping medals to your house if you sign up for this race. And each one looked prettier and prettier. And I was like, ooh, if I do 20 miles, or, and you didn't have to do it in one distance, you could do it and break it up. And so I had done a couple of those. I'm spending money for this medal for something I'm doing online. And I think a friend of mine had posted something on their story about this local coach that was looking to take on more athletes. And I was like, wait, there's running coaches? I had no idea that even existed. And so I signed on with him. His name's Robert Sturba. He was the one I paced at Pinhoti last year. And we just started working together. November will be 3 years that I've been training with him. However, life comings and goings and happenings, I didn't sign up for anything initially. When I started working with him, all I said was, I want to see what I'm capable of. I don't know what that is. I've never ran a half marathon. I've never ran a marathon. Nothing on the road ever intrigued me. I didn't like the I don't want to say competitive nature, but how serious it was.
Yeah.
And I was nervous. I didn't want to be in a group of 1,000 people at a start line if I was going to do anything. But I'm going to be really, really honest with you here. And my friend signed up for a half marathon, and I was like, fuck that shit. She's not going to run a half marathon before me. I signed up for a 30K with my coach's guidance. And that was my first race. And truly, it was a competition with my best friend and myself that she knew nothing about and still doesn't. So I'll let her know after the podcast. So that's what got me signing up for races. Now, trails I had trained on before, because where I lived in my early 20s, we had a little dirt trail that took you by the river, and that was my favorite part to run. And so I found a local trail system near us called Doris Leaper, and it's a mountain bike trail system. So I've ran out there for the past few years and trained on trails, and always really enjoyed that versus road running. So my heart has always been on the trails once I started to really train and work towards those goals. But it took me a while to pull the trigger for signing up for a race, to be vulnerable and be put in that position to, fail. So
Was that first 30K a trail or a road race?
it was a trail race. Yeah. It was
So you really like changed course then, right? Because you've only been running on that road and that bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just went straight to trail. That's interesting.
Yeah. To me, I mean, I enjoy training on the road sometimes. It's a nice break, I guess you can say, because you could tune out a little bit easier. On the trail, you have to be super aware and your footing and animals, wildlife. I mean, the trail this morning we were on, there was probably 9 pigs out there in one section. I was like, okay, hold on, let me make sure I'm not upsetting mom and getting in their way, and also standing my ground. On the road, what do we have? Cars and in Florida, crabs. So don't got to worry about too much.
So the 30K, how'd it go?
The 30K was awesome. It was at the Green Swamp. I did the Skunk Ape Revenge. So he has a night race in the summer, and this was the daytime version of that race. And it's very sandy. It's I wouldn't say like a maintained single track trail. Like a part of it is through the Florida Trail. So you are on a nice single track, Orange Blaze, beautiful trail. But Joe Fuller is the race director for that. And he's a little sadistic. So he does, I think it's 3 to 6 miles, I can't remember, of sand berm. So the sand is, you know, a foot and a half to 2 feet deep of soft sugar sand. And he puts it right smack dab at like towards the end of the race. So you're already running in that hot weather. And then you go through, miles and miles of sand. So I didn't finish in the place that I wanted. I really wanted like top 3. I can't even remember where I placed that race. But I had a blast and it hooked me. And as soon as I was done with that, I was like, okay, it's time for a 50K. you know?
Love
So, yeah. There was lessons learned.
Did that kind of get you? So that's what kind of sent you over the edge for your first ultra?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I signed up for that. Initially, I was trying to sign up for Forgotten Florida because I love that trail system. I love that area. I grew up around there, and it had sold out. So I ended up doing Skunk Ape volunteering at Forgotten Florida, which is how I found Run Bum. And my husband and I took photos at the event and volunteered. And so that was a big part of our journey together, and then also with the company. But after I ran that 30K, I'm like, well, what's next? And not a road marathon. I was like, that sounds so lame. Like, that doesn't sound exciting at all. Plus, I wanted to skip that. Like, I just wanted to do something even more challenging. And the thought of a 50K was kind of mind blowing. Like, who does this? I knew my coach did, but I knew nobody else that had. So running that initial trail race, I met a lot of people, and there was a 60K going on at that time. And I'm like, wow, these people are psychotic. Like, why would they do that twice? And then there I was signing up for a 50K.
I love it. That's kind of how me and you kind of got started too. Like there was just I didn't run a marathon. This was my first year that I've ever ran a marathon.
Oh, okay. And how'd you like
it? It was okay.
He hated it.
I didn't enjoy it. Like, it wasn't my thing.
Okay.
I'm thankful. My goal was just to like try to qualify for Boston.
Okay.
That was what I wanted, because I was training for Yeti 50, and me and Mary had talked, and I was like, and she's like, this would be the perfect race to end this cycle on and start your next block. And I'm like, perfect. I'm like, yeah. So I feel amazing for this marathon, and I catch COVID and strep 2 weeks before the marathon.
Oh my gosh.
And when I ran like at mile 12 or 13, I could feel it. I still held my pace, but I could feel like something wasn't right. And by the time I got to like mile 20, I was down to like an 8.5 pace, which sucked because I was trying to hold my 6:45, but it didn't work. And I ended up being like 3 hours and 14 minutes. So I didn't qualify for Boston because my time's like 3:10.
Yes.
I was like, whatever. So, everybody's like, you need to run another one. I was like, no. Now, Nick Morgan, I owe Nick Morgan a marathon, so I have to run one with him whenever he decides to use that.
He's working on it.
I owe you. But I'm just thankful Yeti 50 had a marathon in the 50 miler.
Okay.
Because I qualified for Boston in that 50 miler.
Oh, well, there you go.
So it all worked out, and now I don't have to run a marathon unless Nick just makes me. So,
okay. I should text.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy. I know a lot of people love marathons, but I don't know. I would at some point I may try another one, but it's going to be anytime soon.
I think the only marathon I truly enjoyed this whole year was Knoxville. I hated Chattanooga. Nashville was a disaster.
Okay.
But Knoxville, even though it's probably the hardest out of all of them, I like it the best.
That's good. good community.
Well, it's
right there.
local, so I know everybody. Like, you go through and you just hear them hollering for it, and you're like, who is that? You don't know who they are, but they
Right?
know who you are from the community part. And when you go
Yeah.
to Chattanooga, there's a few people down there that we knew. And Nashville, nobody. Nashville was awful.
You're like, I won't go
You
back
had a
to
very
that.
good race at Nashville.
No, I probably will not ever do the Nashville Marathon ever again. I would do the half. I did the half as my second half marathon ever, and I
Oh,
loved it. You get to run through the town, through downtown, to the city. It was awesome.
see, I like that. I see some of these running tour style races, and I'm like, oh, that sounds neat, but I'd rather run in the woods and drive through the town.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Well, for the marathon, you only run through the town just a little bit, and then
Mm,
you're doing all these way out stuff where you're just going way out in the middle of nowhere,
okay.
and it's not fun. It wasn't fun.
So yeah, I guess what we're saying is you didn't miss anything.
Nope, didn't
Okay.
miss nothing.
It
Nope.
sounds like it. Yeah. I think I intuition on that one, and I think it led me in the right path.
I think if you did like a trail marathon, it's probably so much better.
I've
Yeah.
done a trail marathon. I had done that before, but I'd never done a road marathon.
See,
So
I could settle for that now. I could
yeah.
do, I mean, I've done it in training, so
Yeah.
did that count?
Yeah.
Right? Unofficially?
I've never run a trail marathon.
That should count. So did you as you transition through, like, your 30K, then your 50K, and what's your longest distance to date?
50 miler.
50 mile. And which one was that?
So I did Croomfull's 50 miler in April, and that was my first and only 50 miler to date.
How was that?
It was awesome. It was awesome. So Andy and Amy, who put on Croomfull's, they also put on the same race that I ran my first 50K. So it was beautiful to be able to hit that milestone with them and their races, for my first ultra and then for my first 50 miler. It's put on out in Dade City, like Withlacoochee area. You'd be surprised, over the 50 miles, I got like 3,500 feet of vert of sand hills, just like bunny hopping along. But it was a loop course, and so we had a 5-mile starter loop and then 15-mile loops that you had to complete, 3 of them.
Wow.
And it was neat to be able to come in, see my husband, and then get going again. But for me, that was probably my all-time favorite race to date. I love all the races I've done so far, but that experience intrinsically, internally, was one of the neatest things I've ever experienced, putting my body through 50 miles and crossing that finish line. For me, I was pretty mind blown for a few days after that, and still can be, like, if I talk to people about it, they're like, you did what? Why? and I just say, you really won't get it until you do it. For me, the allure was there. Like, what is this going to feel like? How am I going to feel? And I got to experience so much that I can only describe as like a very freeing, beautiful, cathartic experience.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to do it again.
I never expected you to say that. I thought you were going to say awful.
Oh.
When you were saying awesome, I thought you were getting ready to say awful, but you said awesome, and I'm like, oh.
No,
That's usually a lot of people's first response. Like, how was it? Awful.
But yeah, that's what most people say. Awful.
But I'm going back. I'm ready to go back.
I had a whole plan and strategy, because, to be honest, my first 50 was supposed to be Forgotten Florida again, 50 miler. So first time Forgotten Florida, it was sold out. Second time I signed up for Forgotten Florida 50 miler, and I'm working for a run bum at this time, and I DNF because I strained my IT band and I couldn't bend my leg anymore. So I stopped at 30 miles. And so after I quit that race, I signed up for Croomfull's. So that was my second attempt at the 50 mile. And so I would say, I had more fuel to the fire to burn out there for Kroomfools. It wasn't necessarily a redemption race. It was like, I know how to navigate these problems versus letting them stop me. So for me, I had a whole strategy mentally and physically. You know, I had a method that I was going to go with to achieve that distance, not just try and go out the gate as fast as I could, like I did at Forgotten Florida, and burn up and strain my body to the point that it was like, yeah, no, we're done. So for me, I didn't have really a low point at that race. I cried a lot, but that wasn't out of like pain or sadness. It was out of just pure appreciation for the process.
Well, it sounds like you've at least found the joy in the suffering. You know, like you a lot of people, when we ask about a race, they'll at least, oh, this part was all, you know, it was awful. But you're like, everything that you say that kind of went wrong, you spin it to a positive, or
Yeah.
you take something away from it, and that's awesome. Like, if you can do that the whole time in a race, that's pretty impressive.
Let's see in November.
We should get her back on here after Pinhoti. Did you puke? Did you cry? Did you scream? Did you cuss?
Did she hate it?
Well, I will 100% cry. I'm like the biggest crier. Ask my husband. I cry at the drop of a hat. And I do scream. I realized that at Kroomfools, I was doing like this, like, like channeling some energy out there. And it really worked. It was like some deep soul chant. And it got my legs to keep going in those last few miles.
Well, I just want you to remember at Pinhoti, like, remember these words.
Okay.
I just want to know what mile you're at.
Okay.
When you say, F this shit, I'm never doing this again. Because everybody says it in their first 100 miles.
Yeah.
I want you to look at your watch and see what mile it is.
I'm going to text you, be like, I don't know who you are, but this is the mile. Maybe you'll see me like crying on a rock. This is it. This is it.
I can't tell you how many times I said that in my first 100 miler, because I did Warhammer, and I was like, F this. I'm never running this shit ever again. I am done. I'm done. Like, why would I do this? It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done. The next day,
I think
I could go faster.
I've paced quite a few people at their 100 milers now. So I've seen that every time.
Oh, yeah.
It's walking a drunk child through the woods, and they're just yelling, screaming, puking, pooping. You're like, okay, we're going this way. And they all want to quit. And it's just, it's been such an eye-opening experience to be on the other side of it. And every time I crew and pace somebody, I'm like, never again.
Yep.
Y'all
now you're gonna be that. Now you're gonna be that runner.
So I
did it at Georgia Jewel.
That's exactly what you'll be at Pinhoti. You're gonna be the drunk toddler running through the woods.
Yep.
Yep, that will be me. I have no doubt. I wish that you could like tie a leash to me so I don't go wandering off, but I guess that would be cheating.
Well, I want to know what mile. That's important.
Yep. Okay.
You'll remember that now. When it comes out of your mouth, you can be like, oh.
We all need to remember that. On our next look down, like, yep, this is the mile.
No, I'm going to start tracking it, because I still say it in some races.
Yeah, I do too.
And I'm going to start looking at my mileage, because I'm going to see if there's a trend. I look every now and then, and usually it's like mile 70 or 80 for me, and then it goes away after a while.
I don't even think I make it that far. It's somewhere around the 50-mile part probably.
I always cry around like 27, 28. I've found in training, in races, I always have like a deep cry. So
really,
it's not a bucket thing. That's not, I don't want to do this. It's just like a cathartic cry. So I'm imagining.
I just finished that marathon. I don't want to run no more.
I'm imagining there's going to be at least like 4 mental breakdowns at Pinhoti, if not a dozen. Mostly a dozen.
I hope some of this makes it into the magazine after Pinhoti.
Yeah.
They could just do it. That you could do your feature on you.
Yeah.
Brandy's first 100. How did it go?
We're going to title it Fuck This Shit.
And we got to have every picture in order.
Uh-oh. We're frozen.
Yep.
All the way through.
The good, the good, the good, bad, 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 cry, 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 finish.
That's a good race report, though, if I'm going to be honest. I'll let y'all know. I'll keep you updated.
Well, I hope that goes good. What's been your training plan for the 100? Or have you started it yet?
Oh yeah, I've started it. Actually, this is my peak week for Rebecca Mountain. So right now I'm running, I have 3 or more days of strength training, and then I am doing Hot August night on Saturday night, and that's out actually another Andy and Amy race. I just love them to death. So that's a 20-mile night race that starts at I think 6 or 7 p.m. on Saturday. So I'll get to run, in the evening. It'll probably be like 97, 98 degrees at that time here in Florida. So it's going to be fantastic.
So with you running at nighttime, are they not like creatures out?
Oh, there's a lot of creatures out. Yeah.
Like
we have
gators, crocodiles, any of that kind of stuff?
Where this race is, there's a river, so there's gators. Yeah, but they don't want nothing to do with us. And
Matt's just worried because Matt's a little man in that game.
Oh, hey, I see that stuff out there. I'm like,
it don't take much to jump up and get Matt.
Yeah. That stuff comes out.
All you would see is beard sticking out of that alligator's mouth.
Yeah, it choke him up with the beard. Go for the beard first. Choke him up.
I am the perfect size for a gator. I'm under 5 foot, so I would be like lunch. But
almost the same size.
Matt's lucky by 2 inches an inch.
5.
You're 5'4".
5'6".
Are you?
On a good day.
I was gonna say, I don't think he's 5'6". My daughter's taller than him, and she's 5'6".
5'6" on a good day. It's 5'5" every other day.
Yeah, he's 5'6" in his cowboy boots and his heels.
5'7" in my cowboy boots.
Well, feel better. I'm 4'11", so I have to look like up at the 5.
I would feel tall. I would actually feel tall.
Yeah, most people do next to me. I'm child's.
Every time I look at people, I'm like looking up as I'm talking to them.
Yeah,
so
it wears on your neck.
4'11" with shoes on or with them off?
With them off.
Okay.
Yeah. My husband measured me and tried to tell me I was 4'9". I knew he was pulling my chain, but I'm definitely 4'11".
And how tall is your husband?
My husband, he's 5'10".
Okay.
Oh,
he looks 6'5" to me. He's funny.
Pictures, he looks pretty big. Yeah, I was thinking 6'1".
Right? Yeah. Well, standing next to me, he looks like he's.
They might think you're 6 foot standing beside her, man.
That's true.
We have a group text for me, Deanna, Sean. We all work together, and it's titled Team Whittlewags because of my Whittlewags. Yep. Been this size most of my life, and I think I'm just going to get smaller.
Yep.
But we're not really too worried about the creatures out there. I mean, I'm used to them, honestly. Back to your question, like we got pigs, we got spiders, we got snakes, we got gators, we got flying cockroaches, you name it. But it's just a part of the journey.
Well, I think we got all those except maybe 2. I don't think I've ever saw a flying cockroach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Up here.
We got skunk. That's
yeah. We got a lot. I mean, we got like the normal stuff, but
we got bobcats,
a gator and a flying cockroach.
Yeah.
They stay out of your way, though. I've not had any like scary encounters with anything other than the banana spider that ends up like right on my face. Other than
I always laugh about that. Like that's my thing. if I ever die, it's not going to be from running. It's not going to be from anything like that. It's going to be from a damn spider bite.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're everywhere.
I'm just waiting. Like that's what's going to happen.
I don't know how, when we were marking the Cherokee course, I don't know how we didn't get bit and like in the hospital with how many spider webs we crawled through.
Yeah, you got to think when we were flagging that thing, and even when we were like trying to figure out if the course was possible. I mean, you're talking about a hiking trail that people might walk once a month.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
You look like
infested.
you look like a cotton swab running through the woods.
think
I
at
mean,
one
that's truly
point-
what you look like.
They were living in my beard as
oh
we were.
my
They would
Now-
get in here and they would just like hang out.
yeah.
Yeah, it would get so bad. Like you would just run through it and just like shake your head and just keep going and try to get off your face. But then you would just have to stop
And clean yourself.
because it would be like from head to toe. You could just feel it like wrapping around your legs. And I'm like,
We've run
I don't
into
know.
like big banana spider webs to where it like sucked my husband's hat off his head. You know, just
Oh wow!
so
I don't
we
think we have banana spiders.
no stranger to that. How are the ticks where you guys are? Because our ticks,
terrible.
yeah,
They're here.
same.
I actually pulled one out of my leg at Cherokee.
I pulled
Okay.
one out. I think I pulled one out training up there. I came home and it was on my back. It was on my head. Yeah, it was on my head. I was laying there and I'm like, what is that? Pulled it out. Awesome.
Probably bring a family home in that thing with your
Oh,
beard.
they don't hang out
They're
in here.
probably living in
They
there.
don't hang out in here. It's all the hair. No, but like we had Andy Glaze on. He asked us about the ticks. Like, what do we do?
Yeah,
Really? What do we mean? We just
gotta-
go run. And
yeah.
It
You
doesn't.
got to rip them out later.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, there's not much you can do about it.
No, I mean
Burrow comb.
we'll use bug spray it sometimes if it's a if we can, but honest truth is in a long run
It don't matter.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
So we would get we get to wherever we're going and we're good. When we
Yep.
run back,
Yeah,
we're
you're
gonna get
covered.
ticks.
Yep.
Especially when you
part of
sweat like we do.
I make a joke with my cousin. He always when we get done, he'll have ticks all on him. I'm like, dude, if you run faster, they can't get on you.
That's like us and the horse flies here. We have a lot of those on the trail.
Oh God.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys do too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
everyone's just like, just run faster. I'm like, they are brutal. Brutal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hate horse
We
flies.
were doing training runs up there for the Cherokee course, and we had Brandon Johnson and Mike, and we were running, and you could just see them buzzing around their heads like little buzzards
They make
and
tape.
chasing them. They were just
They make-
chasing
They
Yeah,
make
the tape that you
tape
put in your
apparently
hat,
that's supposed to
double-sided.
help. Or
I used-
dragonfly clips.
I've used the
Oh.
double-sided tape before. I
Drag-
used it in Michigan, and it worked.
Is
did work.
dragonflies scare them?
Well, it's a dragonfly clip. I
Do
guess
they-
I don't know if they eat them, scare them, what it is, but apparently it helps. Our friend just went running at our home trail, and he used the dragonfly clip, and apparently he got bit less, but he still got bit.
I've never even heard of a dragonfly.
I've never heard of a
clip.
dragonfly clip.
I'm gonna check this out.
Listen, we'll try anything to avoid it.
Oh yeah, they're bad. They're awful.
I was told catnip spray. If you spray catnip, but then I think about the bobcats. I'm like, do you have a train of cats following you?
Yeah.
But
I'll take the horsefly over that.
Yeah, definitely
Woo.
horseflies.
right. Yes. Well, I guess it comes with the territory. So
So now let's kind of step back. I want to talk a little bit now about East Coast Ultra Running Magazine, but also like tell us about how you got involved in. So you become passionate about running. You obviously you get clean. You go through some really hard shit in your relationship. Start running to find peace. Work your way up to running a 4-mile bridge, and then automatically go do a 30K with your friend, or because your friend signed up before you did for a race, which is funny. And then, then we're up to a 50-mile race. So like, tell us how you met Run Bum and how you became involved in like being a race director or chief editor, whatever position you do now at Run Bum. I'm sure you've did multiple. So if you want to just tell us a little bit about everything, it'd be awesome.
Actually, it was, if you guys know Scott Abshire, he was looking for photographers for Forgotten Florida, and that race had sold out. And I saw that they needed volunteers. So I had already signed up to volunteer at an aid station, just give back to the community. I wanted to see that side of a race, being there for the runners, helping them in any way I could. And then I saw Scott post about needing a photographer, and my husband and I own a photography business. We had never shot trail races before. So I just kind of throw him to the wolves all the time. He says I like to pimp him out a lot. And so I did to Scott, because I wanted him to take photos at this race. I thought it would be a fun project for him, the honey-do list, how it goes. And so that's kind of how we got introduced to Run Bum, is volunteering and then taking trail, race photos at that event. I didn't start working for Run Bum until June of last year. I had seen, again, social media, a post. Deanna Doan, who is the co-race director with Sean, had said that they were hiring for a social media manager and marketing specialist. And I have a bachelor's in business management. I've also managed other people's social media accounts before. Networking is kind of my second language. And I just said, let me toss my, hat in the ring and see what happens. I had always had this super big draw to Run Bum races just because they're so well done. The community that's there is so supportive. I just loved everything about it, not to mention the scenic views of every single race. And so I didn't think I would get chosen for the job just because I haven't been a big part of the community for decades like some of us. But they chose me. They interviewed me. They hired me. And so it's been a little over a year now, and it is by far the best job that I've ever had. It is incredible, to see the magnitude of the community. Even though I manage a lot of it online, I'm at a lot of the races. And now that my husband and I both are full time with Run Bum, we'll be at every single one of their races. If I was to give you a job title, I don't really think I could, because I still do the social media marketing. And then pretty much I am there, whatever they need us to do. If it's emails, if it's retail, we are their right hand in whatever adventures they want to send us on, pretty much. So that's a little synopsis of our journey. Recently, Sean had wanted to start this publication, and this is something that he has wanted to start for years, just didn't feel like he had the person there to help him execute that publication. And I think with us being a part of the team for so long now, and my husband and I actually have published a magazine before, he felt like this would be the right time. So here we are.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. So you and your husband both work for Run Bum.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. So if you see those advertisements for like any of the races, it's usually him. Sometimes I'll get in there because I'm a little greedy and I'm like, I want to make something pretty, and so, but he's a photographer. His landscape work is phenomenal, and he also has just an insanely talented mind on building like advertisements. So he's
That's
played
great.
a very large role in what we do together.
That's
Perfect.
great. That's going to be super handy whenever you start your actual first publication and start moving forward, because sounds like you all know what you're doing. So what you said you had already released a prior like magazine or publication?
Yeah. So my husband and I, that's how we met. I actually was looking for an editor for a magazine that I was publishing, and I was interviewing him to one, help me with the photography for the magazine, and two, become the editor. Because as much as I like to talk, as y'all can tell, I am not great at like grammar and punctuation. I don't care about any of that. That's what autocorrect is for. And
Exactly.
he is that grammar, punctuation, making sure, T's are crossed, I's are dotted, everything's in the right place. I'll just ramble on.
That's exactly how I am. And once I post something, my wife will rag me. She'll send me something. She's like, this ain't right. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's supposed to be this way, this way. I'm like, I'll fix it. Or I'll post something and then once somebody in the team I'm like, hey, this ain't right. I'm like, golly bum, autocorrect didn't fix it because I did. I just write it down. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell one on Matt already. So he's very artistic, like when he's making stuff, really good. And he made a new Gone Loco poster, and he sends
Okay.
it to
That
the
was something
guys,
else.
and he's like, "Take a look, make sure, check this, guys. Let me know if everything's good." Well, no one said anything.
Yeah.
So finally, I send Matt a text, and I'm like, "Hey,
2 G's.
what did you spell?" He spelled Gone Loco
2
wrong.
G's. 2 G's. Yeah, well, that does it. I did it today too when I was creating the new the dirt circuit one with the original, like some runners that's been doing it for 11 plus years or 11 years. And I put it in there correctly. And then if you push space, it double pushes the first letter. And I didn't catch it on Gone Loco. I caught it today.
Yeah, it was
Listen,
funny,
how
but
many
no one,
times
the entire team, no one told him anything. Like no one responded.
I send some of this stuff to the people to like check it and make sure I'm putting this right. I'm
So,
like, hey, check the
so by the
registration.
time that he's told that it's spelt wrong, he's already shared it on Facebook.
No, I'm like, I'm
well,
just like,
correct will do you wrong too, because I run
it
into
will.
that situation and I'm like, I didn't say that.
Yep.
And you got to be careful who you're messaging.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. So I try to like once I do something, I'll fix the registration forms or do the ultra sign up page. I'll send it to these guys. I'm like, hey, please check this because I know that I do this stuff in a hurry and I get it wrong. I'm like,
Yeah.
check it, nothing.
And a second, third, fourth set of eyes is key.
I get nothing. It goes live. All of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Hey, this is wrong. This is wrong. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, all right, I'm on it. All right, I'm
Yeah.
on it. All right, I
Well,
got it.
that's why I got my husband. I mean, I didn't realize that when I hired him that he was going to be my husband at that time, but he was so good at grammar, I just had to marry him.
No, I think that's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, hey,
Many other reasons.
Everybody's got their thing.
yep.
Good at grammar. Lock him.
But we had met over the initial publication. We ended up passing that publication on to a friend of ours. And so for it to come back and circle around is really neat. Is really
Yeah,
neat
so-
to get this opportunity.
So tell us a little bit about your vision for the magazine and what it's going to be, and your at least what your strategy is starting out. I know it's like this. You're working on your very first publication to come out this time, but like I'm sure you have a vision of what you expect.
So I would say my vision for it is to really highlight and showcase these hidden gems on the East. We want to feature everything east of the Rockies, everything north as Maine and as south as the Keys. There's so many races, there's so many communities, there's so many coaches, there's so many influential people in this community that I don't want to say are overshadowed, but maybe not showcased in the ways that we hope to. We really want to further bring the community together for a common purpose, to support one another, to enrich everyone's lives, whether that be training tips. For us, heat training, right? We definitely all know all about that right now. And sometimes people don't know about salt. So we want to bring that to the forefront, and we want to bring more information for people to access on a free platform. So the magazine's going to be digital. It's free. It's not a subscription. It's going to be monthly. And so we really want a way to be able to connect people all across the East, not just the Southeast, but all these areas that maybe get a little overlooked, and all of the really powerful, I want to say powerful, but influential people in these different areas that maybe, they have a name on Ultra Sign Up. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're kind of flying under the radar. Maybe they're just an old school ultra runner that has a amazing reputation and hasn't really been showcased because there's nothing on the East Coast really to showcase these people or these races, these different communities. And so that is our goal, is to bring all of this to light.
That's been needed in this community for a while, so I'm kind of glad to see that it's happening. Kudos to you guys for doing it, and it's a lot of work, and that's a lot to manage in the very beginning. So thank you for what you're doing, and I think it's going to be big. I mean, I think the East Coast has finally grown enough in ultra running that this is going to be popular, and be what it really should be. But thank you guys. I can't wait to see this first magazine released. When do you have a date you're trying to hit, or do you want to commit to that on the podcast?
Not going to commit to that, but I will say very, very soon. We are building it all now, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing, and I can't wait to show it off to everyone. I really look forward to watching it grow and develop, because with anything, any business, any company, you have that solid foundation, which is what we're building now, and then it grows and evolves and develops, and with the help of the community, this thing could be huge and it could be incredible. And I think that it's really going to be a platform that brings all of us together for that common goal, just like we show up at that start line, right? And this is that opportunity to just work with one another, come together, and be there to support one another. So as much as you say thank you to me, thank you guys for playing a role in that. We really are honored, and we really appreciate the support we've received so far without even the first publication being live yet. So it's exciting.
Definitely. It is. That's why we wanted to have you on the podcast, to learn who you are before the first magazine is released, and also kind of what the vision was. And I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's going to be a big hit in the East Coast.
Well, definitely. Like, I believe we were at the Cherokee race, and I saw the notification where it said going to be a new East Coast ultra running magazine. I'm like, oh, this is awesome, because there's, like you said, there's so many races on this side. There's so many incredible runners that nobody knows about, but the community knows. Like, you get to a race, you're like, oh, that dude's here. He is fast. He is great. But you never hear about him.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see nothing published about him. You don't see any highlights about him. And so, you bring in that magazine showing the runners or the races or whatever, it's going to be in there. We know these people. So it's going to be really cool to see that in there, instead of, just when we go to something, it's a lot of the West Coast stuff, which is great. They're beautiful areas because I want to go run them. Like, I want to. But when you see this stuff here, you're like, I want them to see this. I want everybody to see this area.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say that the East is like the dark horse of ultra running. We're going to come out swinging. So I look forward to it. I look forward to showing everyone off, all the races off, to bring the community together, but really to just put out there what we all know, like you said, showing up to races, and that person. And I really think they deserve their time in the sun, just like all of us. So it's going to be a beautiful adventure. I'm holding on tight because it's about to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it because another thing that goes along with that magazine is the fact that we have amazing photographers
Yeah.
in the East. We are
Yes.
so blessed. I mean, there are so many good ones. I mean, it's just such a it's so much fun to see what they capture in a race because one of the things that happens for me and Matt and Mike and Micah and James is like you're working the
Yeah.
Yep.
whole time during a race, and this just as well as we do. It's like you didn't get to see those moments out
Right.
on the course
Yep.
because you were filling up a water cooler or you were tending to someone that needed help or and then when you go back and you see all these pictures and you see all the emotion and you see the change that you have impacted into this person as far as like feelings that they've got and how they how they're going to be different, they're going to have more confidence and
Yeah.
like you help that,
Yes. Oh
but you
yeah.
don't really get to see it until
Yeah.
you see those pictures. And we're just so lucky that we have photographers around here that can capture that emotion. And it's just awesome. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You all have had some of the same photographers we use in your races, and they're just awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Misty, Nick, I mean, we're gonna have that's a big pull of the magazine, right? We get to show off all of that beautiful. I consider photography artwork. I will say that all the time. People think I'm confusing it. I mean it. It's art and
It is.
it's poetry, and we have these incredible photographers across the board. M. Schaefer, she's going to be in the first
Mm-hmm.
issue as well, and they are taking not just this beautiful memento for the runner to keep, but they are showing you that journey. And my husband and I will take photos at races, and people are like, don't, please don't, if they're like crying or struggling. And we'll respect that space for them. But at the same time, we let them know, like, oh, I'm walking, don't take my picture. I'm like, that's a part of your journey. Like, it's amazing what we get to see and what these photographers get to see and then show you overcame. Like you were
Yeah.
down and out and puking on the side, cuddling with that rock, net thinking this. And then I have a picture of you crossing that finish line at the same time, and
Yeah.
it's a story within a story. So I'm excited that we get to highlight not just those stories of the runners, but also these photographers who live these journeys with these runners as well.
Yeah. I'm like right now. I'm like so excited to see Nick and Misty's photos. Like you said, we're up here at the start line and the finish line, cheering people on as they come through. But out on the course, we have no clue what people went through.
Right.
No clue. And so, like when those pictures come out, I'll save them. I'll save every one of those pictures to my phone. Every one of them.
Do you really?
Every one of them. They're all in my phone. So I have thousands of pictures over. I don't know how many years Misty and Nick's been taking our photos. And then people at work like, how does your phone not blow up? But I get to scroll through all these photos, and I get to pick which ones I want to post and share and promote and all that. But just seeing like you said, from the beginning they're happy,
Yep.
and then in the middle they're like defeated,
Yep.
and then a little bit later they're crossing that finish line, and the emotions that they have is incredible. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, like I'm excited to see what Misty and Nick come up for our recent race that we have.
Yeah, and it will be kind of nice too to see the photographers we don't even know about.
Definitely.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
I learn a new one every time I'm looking for one. Like it's
I think the three that I know really is Misty, Nick, and Shriner.
Shriner
Shriner. Love
Yeah,
Shriner.
those are the three that I
and
really
Ashley.
and Ashley, yeah, Ashley, she does our races as well, but those are the only ones I really know from just that's just from our races. And
Well, we
then
can
like
show
now
you more.
we saw your your photos. I didn't
Yep.
know who you were. And now I see those photos, I'm like, those are pretty good. So like you said, you get to put all these photographers in there and show them because like you said, we don't all know them.
Well, and it's neat too because not only do we get to show off these incredible people and their artwork or what they bring to the community and hear their stories as well, but now we get to connect everyone together, in
Yep.
in a way that maybe that wouldn't happen. I mean, we all have social media these days, majority anyway, in one form or another. But unless you're in that person's algorithm or feed, you might overlook somebody who's super talented, or even not know that this person's just a couple states away or cities away from you. And I really look forward to bringing to light some of these names that kind of go unheard of. So,
Yeah.
but I will say, Nick and Misty, I've seen Nick's from the race, and they are phenomenal, phenomenal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
very
Misty's
talented.
phenomenal.
Yeah. They're they're two of the best that I know of.
If you can get those two at a race, you're guaranteed amazing
But you know,
photos.
I will say I've seen Shriner's pictures too. Though his are awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's taking some awesome pictures of me, and I'm like, oh man,
he
you must
gets
have
all
edited
that
that, man.
snow stuff,
Saving that.
and
A lot
he's
of
an amazing
Photoshop going on.
human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's one of our
Like
we met him at Pinhoti last year, and he was the coolest, most down to earth dude.
Yep.
And I mean, handed us his camera. Was like, here, check out this setup. And my husband and I are, kids in a candy store. Sweet camera. He's letting us look through the lens, and I love his style, because his one photo of just two people holding hands can make you feel 100 different emotions. And
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love that about photography.
I mean, we tried to get Nick's photo one time, take a picture of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said no. Yeah.
I
That
haven't
didn't
had
happen.
the pleasure of meeting Nick in person yet, but I will in October.
Nick is awesome. Where are you going to see him at in October?
At Virginia Trail Running Festival in
Oh
Virginia.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nick will have fun there.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That's going to be a fun one. So I look forward to just being there in the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the newest race. One of his
That
newer
is the
races.
newest Run Bum race. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep. So it's on crushed gravel. It's on the New River Trail. So it should be a fast course. It's gorgeous. It takes you through Fry's, Virginia, which is just this quaint little town. And it's absolutely stunning. The views from the trail are breathtaking, like any Run Bum race. So we're super excited for the inaugural year, and obviously to have Nick there too.
Oh yeah.
Well, it'll be a good turnout. Someone asked me if I would run it, and I was like, I would love to. I was like, but I've already signed up for Yeti. I was like,
yeah.
so it's it'll be on a race in a future year. So.
There's so many races.
There's
It's good. It's so good for all the runners, and it's bringing more people.
yeah.
But there's so many. And
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, which one do I want to do? Do I want to do
It's
this one?
hard to choose.
But
It is.
that's also helping the community so much.
is, yeah.
Because now people don't have to travel so far
Yep.
to run a race.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons we started East Coast Adventures, because there was nothing out here near us. I mean,
Yeah.
we could go to Knoxville or Chattanooga and run, but there was nothing here.
Yep.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to see all these little buckets popping up of different race directors and all the runners that are starting to like come on board, and we're seeing so many younger runners. I mean, we had a kid at the Cherokee 70K. He wasn't even, he might have been 15, 14.
Oh yeah, he's
Oh
15.
wow.
15. He did the whole thing with his dad. It was so cool.
Yeah, and
He
they're
did
They were
the whole
side by
thing?
side, the whole thing.
they're
That's
local to us.
insane.
They're like from where the race was Tellico, and they live in Nyota, which is probably 20, 30 minutes from the race. And this kid is incredible. He runs a lot of local races, and he runs for the high school team and all that. But him and his dad signed up together, and they ran every step together. And it's also cool that they're from Nyota, but they've never ran any of our other races that we put on. But as soon as the Cherokee hit, they were there. They were signed up because it was something different than it was a mountain race, local.
He ran a race before.
Which
The dad had, yeah, they both.
I've never
had.
saw him.
But what's really cool about it though is that Nick got some pictures of him up on Buck Bald, just like eating a hamburger or something. Like, he's halfway through this race, and like he's 14, 15 years old out here with his dad. And he's just like leaned back, eating a hamburger, looking around at this beautiful view, of Buck Bald. He's like, Like it's nothing. And I'm like, that's so
Yeah.
awesome. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
like he looked like he was having fun. So I don't know if you've went through those pictures yet, but like there's a
Oh, I
couple
have.
of he's a
Oh,
very young boy and he's like eating a sandwich on the top of the mountain there. Really cool.
if I told my daughter she was going to come run 130K with me, she would look at me, laugh, and turn around and walk away. I asked her to like run the last 5 miles of Pinhoti with me, and she's like, running in the woods with you in the dark at night. She's 14. She's like, I love you, Mom. I love you a lot, but I'm not doing that.
Well, and they didn't do the 130K. They did the 70K, but still,
Okay, 70K.
that's
Still,
still
still.
40. That's still 43 miles that this
If
15-year-old
he's,
boy ran with 11,000 feet of elevation.
see, I'd love to hear his story.
Yeah, and it's like I'm like him and his dad's been doing this for a while. Like this isn't his first.
And
run.
they came in close.
Yeah.
They came in with 11 minutes left before cutoff.
You're talking about a cool hobby with a son, with a father and son. That's just like really cool. Like that's a story in itself of like
Yeah.
something you don't see every day. Like this 15-year-old boy is running this race with his dad, and they run it together.
Yep.
So cool.
I love that. I would love to know their name if you have a way to get in contact with them.
One of them will be running the Grayson Highlands
Oh,
next
okay.
year.
Awesome. That's a beautiful
Oh, is
race.
he?
Steven is his dad. Or, yeah, Steven is. I don't know about Samuel.
Yeah.
Samuel is also signed up for Grayson Highlands.
Oh, so you're going to meet the son and the dad.
Okay.
Grayson
Awesome. I look forward to it. Well, I'm so glad that they came out and had that experience. And for race directors, I can only imagine seeing that younger generation come out, how inspiring that is for you, but to everyone else there.
Yeah, and what I thought was crazy though is like he didn't go out and pick, like Yeti 50.
Mm-hmm.
He picked an 11,000 feet gain force, like, through the Cherokee National Forest.
Something not easy.
I'm just like, I tell Mike and Matt and Mike and him, I'm like, we have a 15-year-old boy running this race, guys. This is interesting.
Yep.
And we had several DNFs even in the 70K, but not him or his dad.
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 2 of them were with the lady that broke her leg. But she is moving. She's doing rehab right now. She has got her boot off.
Yeah, there's you a story.
And she is.
Oh yeah,
she is
was
back on the bike.
She was in the Cherokee. She was in the Cherokee 70K.
Yeah.
She made it about 4 miles in and slipped on a rock.
Okay.
And her and her husband, they do Spartan races and everything. Like they
ran a lot of the Run Bum races.
And, yeah.
She was actually going to lead a group run for me at Sky to Summit, and then texted me and said, "Hey, I can't. I broke my leg."
Yep.
So I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm so glad she's in rehab now, working on it.
She's doing great.
Yeah, she said it was so funny. They go and get her leg taken care of as far as what they can do. I mean, she had to have surgery on it, so they couldn't do much for her. But then they come back and she's just laughing and giggling, and she's like, her and her husband both, they're like, "I'll be back next year." Like there was not even like hesitation.
And we're gonna be back.
Yeah, and they're like, "I'll be back next year." But there's, you probably saw the pictures. Like he's like,
carrying her out.
Fireman carrying her out through certain sections, and it's crazy. But yeah, that was only like 4 miles into the race, so she was like, "It was just a freak accident."
Yeah,
and that was your first year of putting that on, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Luckily, we were well prepared for that.
She told me like once I picked her up, she goes, "I was so ready to see all these views," and I didn't even make it 3 miles. So. She saw the pictures and stuff we had posted about all the views and everything. And she was looking forward to it. So
yeah. Oh well, she'll be back. She'll be back for redemption.
Hey, she was tough as can be. Mm-hmm. When they brought her out, she didn't cry. She wasn't complaining. She set her own leg back in place.
Oh my! Whoa, she's an animal. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So when she fell, she said it was just like a gut reaction.
Yeah.
She grabbed her leg because it was sideways and put it back in place.
Wow.
And
Wow.
yeah.
and then she just looked at her husband and was like,
Don't talk to me right now. Don't touch me.
so
And then-
he heard it snap.
Yep.
So you heard it snap?
So he didn't know if it was a stick or what, but when he turned around and he saw her leg sideways, then he knew.
And then luckily there was a bunch of runners beside her as well.
Okay.
And they used the trekking poles and they splinted it together, and then he carried her out. And then Nick, the photographer, actually also carried her out some.
I think I heard that there's some photos somewhere I need to see.
There were some photos that he got of her.
Oh yeah.
And
There's actually one of her. They've got her strapped down, carrying her out, and she's laying in there like this.
the
That's awesome. That's
And
awesome.
Nick caught the picture. It's in the pictures. It's so funny.
it's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, she was
They
in
will
such
have-
good spirits the whole time. Even
Yeah.
when they brought her out, and then I brought her back to the high school. Me and her talked the whole way. Me and her husband talked the whole way back about the races she done, how she done some run bump races. That's how I even knew she did those.
Yeah.
And so, like, she didn't cry. It was pretty amazing how tough she was.
You'll have to send me those photos. I haven't seen those ones yet. Unless Nick sent them. I'll have to look.
Well, I'll look and see, but I know they're and I think she's even posted them on her Instagram account
Yeah,
because
they've
I
been
saw
on
them and
her
was
Instagram.
laughing.
Yeah.
Because there's like
Okay.
2 different pictures of her doing this.
Oh my gosh. Hey,
It's
that's
so
one way
funny.
to go about it, though. right-
Right. Well, Brandy, we're going to start questions here in just a minute.
Okay.
But I just want to say, like, Matt said it a couple times already, but we're kind of excited about the magazine, and I think that's much needed. And I even reached out to Sean and told him, like, I thought it was a great idea, and that's how he hooked me up with you. And I've got you on the podcast now so that me and Matt could spend the night with you here and learn about you. But that's how much we care about this community, and just wanting to make sure, like, just like your team, it's like, spread the word, spread the message, help the community grow.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we're one huge family, because I mean, ultra running in general is a very, very, very small percentage of people.
Yep.
We're probably like 1% of the population at this point, I think.
I think the statistics show.
Yeah. So if you think about it, there's really not that many of us, and you narrow it down even more just to like the East Coast, and it becomes a family. These runners see each other. They run all the different race directors' races, and they may run them at different times, but at certain races they all meet up. And it's just kind of cool to see, and the community is just so strong. And I think this magazine is coming at the right time for all of that.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And I just look forward to being able to bring people together, for you to show up at a race in Florida, or me to show up at a race in Tennessee and go, hey, I know this guy. And let's say you're in a situation on the trail, it's unfavorable. At least you can turn around, make a new friend. Maybe it's a friend that, you've read about in this magazine. Maybe it's a race director. Maybe it's a coach. There's so many things that we want to incorporate into this publication. And we're so excited to just expand upon it, because as time goes on, it's going to build just like the community has. And it's really something that I feel like is going to be super special. It already is, because all we're doing is taking this community and bringing it further together, further integrating it with one another.
Absolutely. It will only help this grow even more. So, which is what we all want.
Well, thank you guys. And I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate you guys reaching out. It's an honor.
Well, absolutely. And we're glad that you joined us for this interrogation.
Yeah, anytime.
So I'm going to kick us off with the very first question then, because we're just now starting the interrogation.
Okay.
So we ask this to every listener. It's kind of the question for East Coast Adventures, and we talk about it a lot. But, why do you run? What's your reason? Like when everything's so hard in life and things aren't going right, and you're out there at 2 a.m. in the morning on a 60-mile run or 50-mile run, why?
I think that is a loaded question. but but for me, I think that I run because I get to prove myself wrong every time. I can be my own worst critic. I can be that hardest person on myself, and I have this opportunity every time to show myself that I'm stronger, that I'm capable, that I can do difficult things and come out on the other side. I can feel my lowest and still find a way to be grateful. I can be in so much pain and agony and still find peace of mind. It's almost like I'm in love with that internal tug of war. And for me, running is an example of life. If you can get through the lows and make it to the highs in life, or if you can struggle through those difficult times, it's all going to pay off in the end. And you just don't give up. You don't give up on yourself, and you don't give up on the journey. So for me, I hate to say, but it's everything. Running is everything to me. It's everything in my life. It's the perfect example of what life's all about.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it your hobby, it's your profession.
Yes, yeah, it is. It's everything I do and then some.
Yeah. And it looks like you completely enjoyed that, so that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Kind of sickly obsessed with it.
I think that's how we are as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I love running. I'm going to get a running job. I'm going to help start a running publication. I'm going to quit my day job so I can just run all the time. Clearly love it quite a bit.
Sounds like you're living a good life.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now we're going to turn it over to Mr. Williams, who I tried to give like 30 minutes to find this list, but
we got some. We got a few questions.
Still don't have
not too many today, but we got a few.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt. Take us off here.
The first question is, what makes the mountains and the trails special to you?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would say what makes them special to me is it feels like home. I feel more connected and in tune to myself when I'm on the trail and in nature than I could ever be in a box. I'll keep it simple. Like my bed is fantastic. I feel like your soul comes alive in the woods. I feel like everything makes sense out there versus the comforts of society and these strange little lives we've built for ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, if we couldn't be out in the trails in the mountains, I mean, I think we would all go a little crazy, because that's our favorite places to be is out in the trails in the woods.
I told my husband at our last
the
trip,
next one is
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, I was just saying, we camped at Unicoi the last trip we took, and we spent 4 days or 3 or 4 nights up there. And I said, we could just get rid of everything and just live out of a tent, and I would be completely content. I mean, the baby white bass I'd like to expand upon, but I could totally see myself just living in that little 4x6 space and completely happy.
Yeah, I would love to have like one of those little spears. Have you seen those with like they're like the domes that people are living in now? They're the blow up ones, and they're like $5 or $10 grand. They're like 20 foot by 20 foot round, and it's like weatherproof, and it's supposed to be like has some type of frame in it too. But it's awesome because it's just one big huge bubble. But you can put an air conditioner, hardwood floors, everything. So people are like living in those with a little deck on them, and it's
20 grand isn't bad.
No, it's really cool, and they have like little sunlights in them.
So all
it's really cool.
Is to buy 5 years and get a dome.
See, there you go. Ready to go.
Perfect. All All right. The next question is, how did you get started in photography?
Oh my goodness. So actually I got started in high school. So this is, I mean, I'm 35, so digital cameras were a thing at that time. But I did film and I loved the dark room. Like that was my jam. I could skip all my other classes and just take photos and develop them. That was honestly a very strong passion of mine from my teenage years. And then once I got into my 20s, I started working with photographers, just like conceptual photos that I would be in front of the camera. I guess they call that modeling. I don't like to say it's that. And I kind of got impatient because, again, I'm a little impatient. So I would have all these ideas, and I decided I didn't want to wait on anyone. So I bought myself a DSLR and pretty much taught myself from like a little Amazon book on how to set my shutter and blind shoot, which is what my husband will tell you because I didn't care about knowing my settings. I would just shoot because I would fall asleep in class studying digital. I really never wanted to, I guess, grow up and join that digital world, but I have, and I've been doing photography digitally now for almost, 5 years. So no dark room in my bathroom yet, but I'm working on my husband's to-do list right now.
Perfect.
Oh man. Now these are going to start with running questions. What does your future in running look like?
Oh my gosh. Well, it is my life. So, I mean, running from working for Run Bum Races, running as far as the publication East Coast Ultra Running Magazine, it plays a role in every single thing I do. I do have those 2 races coming up, Rebecca Mountain, which is my next 50 miler. That's September 7th. And then my first 100-mile attempt is November 2nd, and I will see you there. That is Pinhoti. I have no idea what follows that. I have committed to being there for Deanna at the Florida Trail FKT for as many days as I can set aside from work to support her. And then we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. I'm kind of leaving it open since I've started trail running and racing. I pretty much put the pedal to the metal, and I was like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And now it's like, now I get to like shop around with the magazine. I'm like, ooh, I like this one, or ooh, I like this one. So I'm excited to see what opportunities may present themselves and not really like lock myself into anything too early on because I'm still, shopping.
Yeah. And you're probably doing the smart thing by not looking at anything else till you do this 100, because it may give you a new perspective. You may just want to only run 100 again.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, see, that's what I know. And I, before I even, finish signing out at Ultra Sign Up for Pinhoti, I'm like, ooh, maybe that should have been no business. Maybe I'll do that next time. I don't even run. So we'll see.
Like I said earlier, there's so many now.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you really want to go this year?
We're so lucky.
We are.
We're so lucky.
Well, and there's so many now, and there's so many more. Just like you guys having this inaugural event. I mean, I saw that race and the photos from Nick, and I was like, holy cow. Then I got on your Ultra Sign Up, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like, this looks phenomenal. I love how you guys include the history of the area. Like, that's something Sean does, and it's something I really cherish because that's so important to include in these races. Is we're running on these lands, and these lands were established here, and this is why. And to respect that and take care of it. And I think that's beautiful. So Your race has my eye too.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully, registration opens up in the next couple months.
Well, and
Okay.
regardless, we'll at least, if we don't see her this year or next year, we'll see her one of the next few years because she'll eventually make her way through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't wait to be back in Tennessee. We got like one day there and it was
Wow.
such a quick like pass through and I really, really hope that I can talk my husband into a little quick road trip here soon.
Well, if you guys come up here, let us know. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're Northwest Georgia is kind of where you like, come on up this way and hang out with us for a while.
Yep. We'll
Sounds
take
like
you on a run through the national forest.
Yep.
that sounds amazing.
All right. We got a few more running questions. These are the general questions that we have.
Okay.
What is your favorite nutrition?
Oh, what is my favorite? Probably honey.
Honey.
Are you meaning like tailwind? Can't do any of that.
None of it?
So
can't do
I do tailwind. I'll put it in my vest, but primarily I eat like honey, bananas, tangerines, rice or plantain chips. I try and eat like whole foods. Vespa. I use Vespa if you guys have heard of that. Um, the way that my coach trains me is fat adaptation. So
Yeah.
I try to keep it simple. And I find that, I don't know, scratch tailwind just makes my stomach churn. Not throw up, but I just don't like it. So I
can't.
would say if you see anything in what I pack nutritionally, it's honey sticks. I love honey sticks.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, I mean, that's giving you some carbs.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
do for electrolytes?
What do I? Oh, I do Relight.
Really? Okay.
I
Okay.
love Relight. I love Relight. So I'll either put like that in my flask, or I even have like little tabs, little salt tabs of the
Yeah.
electrolytes too.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What kind of shoes do you run in?
Ooh. So I'm battling. I right now I'm in Topos. And I love them. There's a lot I love, but then there's a lot of things I don't love. So I'm an ultra Topo girl in between. One's just making me lose my toenails. The other one kind of triggered some plantar fasciitis, but that was also a little bit a lack of strength training on my part too, to be honest.
Well, I haven't found the perfect trail shoe yet, so I'm still
No.
looking.
Topos
Don't feel bad.
Out of
Topos.
all the shoes I've used, I still think that the Hoka Speed Goats have been my favorite.
Okay. I haven't tried any Hoka shoes
Yeah,
ever.
me neither.
But
Never.
Speedlands are great. I mean, Speedlands are nice, but I've got a narrow foot, and
Okay.
so the wideness of the Speedlands is not my favorite because my foot moves around too much. And I've never ran an Ultra or Topo, so I don't know those.
See, I have a Flintstone foot, so I need like 2 toe boxes.
Yeah, what size shoe do you wear? Like 4, 5,
I am a 6.5.
6.5. Well, see,
6, well,
it's
a
funny
6
because
double
the
wide.
reason I say that is my mom's like 4'11",
Okay.
and her shoe size. I actually, when I if I get her shoes or something for Christmas or anything, I get her a size 4 in kids.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. No, I've always had the widest little brick feet. They're just
That's good for trail running.
Yeah.
Stability.
Stability. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think finding the right shoe for you is challenging. It's challenging, and it changes depending on terrain. So I wish you luck on your venture.
Yeah, it's never ending.
No, I think I'm going to go back to the Hokas. The last question I got is, what kind of hydration pack do you use?
Ooh, I use the Advanced Skin.
Yep.
That's my favorite too. That's the same one I use.
I love it. I mean, there's a couple areas it'll kind of get me, but it fits super snug. It was a good price. I have like the T-Rex arms, so I don't have good range, so I need something with easy access to the pockets, and that vest has been phenomenal. I used to run in Ultraspire. I still love Ultraspire. I think it's a great product. I think they have a ton of great products. However, that advanced skin, there's a reason it's like the #1 selling vest. It's because
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
I've never tried the Solomon. The only vest I've ever tried is Nathan's and Drinkful. That's the only 2 packs I've ever used.
My husband has a Nathan, and he loves it. He loves it. I mean, it's like ripping and holes, but he still wants to keep putting that same one on.
So far, the Drinkful pack that I've got, I've used it for a long time, and it's done great. It's a little hot in the summertime, but other
Oh,
than
yeah.
that, it's done great.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
see, I've started using the Drinkful pack for training. That's what I've been, because
Yeah.
it's that pack. You can put anything in it.
Yep.
It's like packing a lunchbox. It's
It
like
is.
never ending. The
Mhm.
way he designed it, it's just so cool in the back because it's like flip tops and it's open,
Yep.
and you just shove stuff in there. So I train with that. Like when I do, like if I'm planning on a long race or something, where I'm going to wear a pack, I'll wear that one on my long runs because I can pack everything I need for a
can.
long run in that bag. But
Yeah.
then when it comes race day or my fast workouts, I use my Solomon, advanced skin.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how much that kind of help. I feel like it helps me because I'm carrying this big bag full of junk
Yeah,
because
you
I
like
can feel this thing full.
Hey,
Yeah.
I did the whole Vol State in that thing, and it never let me down
Yeah,
the whole time.
it's like I having luggage on your back.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like getting that extra weight training in too.
Yeah.
But I had a Nathan pack and I loved it too. It was
Yeah,
good.
I had 2 Nathan
I
packs.
feel like the Solomon does a much better job though of access to pockets.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just super
yeah.
simple because it's just like sewn pockets all the way around that thing, and you just like shove it full.
It's
The
quick,
more
and
pockets, the better.
I like that
Yes.
accessing everything is quick. You're not fumbling or
Yes.
for me, trying to reach back for that Ultraspire was such a pain trying to get my flasks out. So I like something that's easy peasy and
Yes.
holds a lot of little rabbit snacks in there. That's what I feel like because I'm like always just kind of munching on little fruits and carrots. Little rabbit.
So I got one last question for you.
Yeah.
And it's a simple question. If people want to subscribe to the new magazine, how do they
Yes.
need to do that?
So once we publish the magazine, you are going to be able to access it right from our website. It's going to be easy. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're going to share it across social media. So you're going to see it pop up everywhere, but it's going to be through the website. And you're going to be able to download that PDF and have that if you want to refer back to it. But it's going to be fully digital right now.
Awesome. And then you'll just share the link whenever you get ready to release it.
Oh, yeah.
Which will be
Yeah.
when?
Coming soon. Coming soon. I would say, I don't want to give you an exact date, but in the near future. My crystal ball says in the near future.
Love it. Well, Brandy, thank you so much. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh my goodness. What race are you guys directing next?
So our next event is the dirt circuit. We're
Okay.
also timing a 5K for a local church in Greenback, shoe
Okay.
boxes for soldiers. So we got that coming up. And then after that, we're actually splitting forces. We're splitting East Coast Adventures to crew 2 different races to run aid. So we'll be working at Firewater and No Business.
Okay.
Because they're the same weekend this year.
Yep.
So we're trying to work out that logistics. So we got a pretty busy September, the 5K, then our own races, dirt circuit, plus moving into October, then we've got No Business and Firewater, and I'm racing Yeti in between that.
Yeah, I'm racing Firewater.
Yeah, and you're racing Firewater.
Yep. So I'll do
and
Firewater.
Working Firewater.
Then I'll do the aid station right after that.
And when will I see you at
That is a good question. Georgia Death Race sounds fun.
I've done it.
I think that's sold
it's
out
hard.
or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to meeting you guys in person, and I appreciate having me on tonight.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been fun. It's
It
been a
has.
pleasure. And, honestly, the biggest thing is like just getting to know you because you're the face of the magazine.
Yeah.
And people's going to want to know a little bit about who Brandy is.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it so much. I hope that this is not the last time we get to talk.
No, I think we're going to talk after Pinhoti because I have all kinds of questions. And my very first one is going to be, Brandy, at what mile did you say F this shit?
I can't wait.
And mine's going to be, did you puke?
How many times do I just mark down the first time I think that?
Just the first time. Like,
Okay.
how far did you make it before you broke?
Oh, shit. Here we go.
As soon as she says it, she'll be like, dang it, David. Dang it, there it was.
There it was. I'll make sure to make a mental note if I don't forget.
Just take a picture. Take a picture. And that's going to be the podcast cover.
She'll be going back through her photos. What is this? Why am I taking a picture of my watch? That's the moment I said, screw this.
Oh, God. Wait, should we take bets?
Oh. Yep, we should.
Okay. Well,
we can't let her know what they are.
Oh,
I'm going to tell her. We got to tell her.
Oh.
You can pick it now.
Oh, man. I don't know.
I'm going with mile 75.
Oh, okay.
I'm going right above the halfway point because I know after halfway, you kind of like, well, I'm already made it halfway. I'm tired of this. So I'm going to say 55.
Oh, okay. I even know where I'll be on the trail at 55. So bring it on.
It may be at mile 30.
She's like mile 30, like, I'm done with this. I'm 50K in.
You guys really overestimated this.
I'm going to try to make it at least to 80 before I say it. So I don't know who's winning there.
She'll be like,
yeah, she'll be like, at the 50K mark, no, I can't say it here. Nope.
That's when I puke, cry, and say, fuck it.
Probably all three at the same time.
Yep. That's usually what happens when you're throwing up, you're laying down, you're like, nope, I'm done with this stupidity.
Well, Brandy,
it is. They are.
It has been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait to run with you at Pinhoti.
Yes.
And then, I know that, with our team, we offer, that's one of the things Sean and Deanna does is, they offer a discount for the East Coast Adventures team, which is cool. So, we got, I think that we know David Kyle's running
Quest for the Crest.
So you'll see a couple of team members there.
Yeah.
So, you'll see the blue East Coast Adventures singlets. So,
yep.
I can't wait.
Yeah. We, that's the thing is like we encourage the team, a lot of race directors give the team discounts to come run their races. So, that's what we encourage the most is like, yeah, you're an East Coast Adventures team, but we want you to go run other races. Like you don't have to run our races. We want you to learn all these wonderful race directors and all these wonderful trails that are around us. So, thank you to everyone that does that and gives them that opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. And I can't wait to see some of the team there and hopefully you guys in the fall. Well, I will see you in the fall.
Yeah. Pinhoti, girl. And I'll be sitting at the finish line. I'm just going to be waiting. I'm like, what mile?
As soon as she crosses the finish line, what mile was it?
You like crawling over that finish line. Just let it happen. Let it happen.
Even if I DNF, I'm going to go sit at that finish line.
Please do. Oh my goodness. Well
Brandy,
guys,
thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and best of luck to you. And we can't wait to see the first magazine.
Definitely.
Okay. We'll talk soon, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.